All right, meteorologist Dean Davison, the Weather Pros, liveweatherblogs.com, Roanoke Weather Today.weebly.com. We are going to talk the extreme heat and the heat wave on the way for the East Coast and how hot it will get. We're also going to be talking about any precipitation we may get as we look further into the models. But we're going to start off here with the heat. Over the next couple of days, we're talking about mid-90s as highs. We're going to pull it there when you have 93, 95 in areas in the afternoon time in the Roanoke area. That's going to go all the way up towards DC, the 90-degree temperatures. Mid-80s still in the Delaware Valley, but that won't take long before we get the heat build up that way. And by the time we get into the day, on Tuesday, we're closing in 100 degrees here in Roanoke and Lynchburg, DC, Richmond, and closing in on 90 in the Delaware Valley, and mid-80s even up through the Connecticut and Massachusetts area. And you see, we're going to be in this heat for a while. Overnight lows only getting into the upper 70s, then the expansion of the heat. Forecasted high in Roanoke on Wednesday will be 100 degrees. That's correct, 100 degrees. 99 in Lynchburg, 101 in Danville, right around 100 in DC, and 90 in Philadelphia. And this continues and actually increases on Thursday. 100 in Roanoke, 100 in Lynchburg, 100 in Danville, 99 in Washington, D.C., 101 in Richmond, 95 in the Delaware Valley. Like I said, this just continuously gets hotter and hotter. You want to call it reprieve. 97 is the high temperature for Friday. If you want to call that a little bit of a cool down compared to what we're going to see. Back in the mid-90s for Saturday and Sunday. By next Monday, we're in the mid-90s again. And we stay in the 90s pretty much a week long. It's going to be a hot period of time. Let's take a look at the dew points. This is not going to help the situation. With the dew points in the 60s and 70s, this is not going to be a dry heat. It's going to be a moist heat. And with that, we're going to see issues. One issue I do see happening is the potential for people with asthma and people that work outside have issues. People that work outside in the heat will be exposed to heat exhaustion relatively good and very quickly. So I worry about that a little bit. So we're talking about moisture. We see most moisture stays away from the area. The high pressure kind of plays that part away. We might see a little bit here by Thursday, some scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm. By the time we get around the weekend, that's more likely. And by the beginning of next week, we get a shower thunderstorm. And we get a potential tropical system coming around by the Thursday the 20th. And I wouldn't pay too much attention to this. It's still so far off, but it has shown up in the life models. The potential for a tropical system, and then this would be a hurricane if it did occur. And would actually affect majority of the East Coast. That would include Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, New Jersey, New York. This could be, if this followed this path, would be kind of treacherous because of it. But I'm not going to hype this. I think it's way too far out to even really speculate on this. So many models changed so many times. And I want to see where the European puts it at. And I mean, you have to look where different models put different things at. Obviously, the heat there. It sees the weakness. It does see the weakness, but it's a much weaker system, too. So, that's something, it's a big difference. Huge system on GFS, much weaker system on the Euro. Look at the Canadian model. You have to look at different things. All different models tell you all different things, and that's something you have to always remember. And they change a lot. But with the high pressure being where it's at, that is the one thing that actually kind of gets me that high pressure location would help a tropical system move into the East Coast. That's the only thing that's got really going for right now. Hurricane models, they're way too far out. Yeah. So, I mean, you got multiple models, multiple solutions, way too far out, in my opinion, to even think about that. So, we'll keep an eye on it and update it. One thing is concerning me, and I'm not worried about it as much at the beginning of the week, but further along as the week goes on. The high pressure shifts, and this goes around the ring of fire. Okay, we get the storms following something like this coming down through Virginia and out to sea. Problem with that is the heat would generate this to come through and keep the strength. What reminds me of is 2012 and the ratio. And that is something that you have to generically look at as a whole. If this heat that we have is actually a potential issue, when it's finally the thunderstorms to pop, they will come down and come through the Roanoke area and will be a mesospatial convective system. And because of the heat and humidity, it would allow it to follow and probably be very long-lived. So, I'm not going to say we're going to get the ratio. I'm just saying, if we get any of those patterns towards the end of the week, we may be looking at mesoscale convective systems that are long-lived, and we'll have to watch them very closely. So, that being said, please hydrate. Keep your pets inside, and make sure you have your neighbors taken care of, especially the elderly, and people with medical issues. It's going to be a very long heat wave. This looks like a 5 to 7 day heat wave here in the Roanoke Valley, and at least a 3 to 4 day in the Delaware Valley. So please be on the lookout. Other than that, we'll talk to you again soon. Meteorologist Team Davison, thank you for watching. Have a great day and beginning of your work week, and we'll talk to you again soon.